1. He failed his first entrance exam. Einstein didn't pass the entrance exam to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich on his first try. He failed in several subjects, including languages and history, but did well in physics and mathematics. He later passed the exam in his second attempt. 2. He was a late talker. Einstein was a slow talker as a child. It's said that he didn't speak much until he was around 3 or 4 years old, which led to some concern from his parents. Later, he was known to be a bit of an eccentric thinker, so this might explain his early silent observation. 3. He was offered the presidency of Israel. In 1952, after the death of Israel's first president, Einstein was offered the position. Despite being deeply flattered, he declined the offer, stating that he had neither the natural aptitude nor the experience to deal with people. 4. He was a renowned violinist. Einstein had a deep love for music. He began playing the violin at the age of 6 and was an accomplished violinist. Music was an important part of his life, and he often said, "If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician." 5. His brain was studied after his death. After Einstein passed away in 1955, his brain was removed during the autopsy by Dr. Thomas Stoltz Harvey without the permission of his family. Harvey took over 200 slices of Einstein's brain and kept them for scientific study. Some of these slices were eventually returned to the family, but it sparked a long-standing controversy. 6. His theory of relativity revolutionized physics. Einstein's theory of special relativity, proposed in 1905, is most famous for the equation E equals mc squared, which shows that energy and mass are interchangeable. This theory completely changed how we understand space, time, and energy. 7. He was a reluctant celebrity. Despite becoming one of the most famous people in the world, Einstein did not enjoy the fame. He was a very private person, and the media attention often bothered him. He preferred focusing on his scientific work and had little interest in the celebrity that came with his genius. 8. He was a great public speaker. Though shy and introverted by nature, Einstein was a brilliant public speaker. His lectures drew large crowds, and his ability to explain complex topics in simple terms made him very popular as a lecturer. He had a distinct, almost childlike sense of humor, and it helped him connect with people from all walks of life. 9. He never got a driver's license. Despite being a global celebrity and living in a time when cars were becoming ubiquitous, Einstein never learned to drive. He relied on public transportation or would walk around town. It's said that he was a poor driver and had little interest in learning. 10. Einstein was fascinated by the concept of time. Time was a recurring theme in Einstein's work and personal thoughts. He famously referred to time as a stubbornly persistent illusion and frequently pondered its subjective nature. His theory of relativity showed that time could be affected by speed and gravity, thus changing how we view time in the universe. 11. He had a playful sense of humor. Einstein's sense of humor was quirky and childlike. He enjoyed telling jokes and playing practical jokes on his colleagues and friends. For example, when he was at a party, he once casually mentioned that he had forgotten to bring his propeller hat, and when someone asked what that was, he replied, "Oh, you know, it's what I wear when I don't want people to take me seriously." 12. He was a lifelong vegetarian, mostly. Later in life, Einstein adopted a mostly vegetarian diet. He believed that eating less meat was not only healthier, but also more humane. He was particularly concerned with animal suffering and once wrote, "Nothing will benefit human health and increase the chances of survival of life on Earth as much as the evolution to a vegetarian diet." 13. Einstein was a lover of nature. Einstein had a deep connection to nature and often sought peace and inspiration in it. He would take long walks in the Swiss Alps and later in Princeton, where he lived. His love for nature also extended to the idea of universal harmony, and he often used metaphors from nature in his scientific thinking. 14. He was the first to predict black holes. In the early 20th century, Einstein's theory of general relativity predicted the existence of objects with such intense gravity that not even light could escape from them. These objects would later be identified as black holes. Though Einstein didn't use the term black hole, his equations were instrumental in understanding their existence. 15. He made key contributions to quantum mechanics, despite criticizing it. Einstein's work on the photoelectric effect, which earned him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, provided the foundation for quantum mechanics. However, he was never fully comfortable with some of its counterintuitive implications, famously remarking, "God does not play dice with the universe." His skepticism about quantum mechanics, especially its probabilistic nature, was a topic of ongoing debate in the scientific community. 16. Einstein had two sons, Hans Albert and Edward Einstein. Hans Albert went on to become a well-known philosopher, while Edward, who suffered from schizophrenia and was institutionalized for much of his life, had a difficult life. Einstein had a strained relationship with Edward, although he remained deeply concerned for him throughout his life. 17. He was a devoted reader of books. Einstein was an avid reader throughout his life, not just of scientific literature, but of literature on history, philosophy, and even works by authors like Shakespeare and Goethe. He was particularly fond of reading works on ethics and human rights, which shaped his views on pacifism, socialism, and the role of science in society. 18. Einstein's handwritten manuscripts are extremely valuable. Some of Einstein's handwritten letters, manuscripts, and notes have fetched astronomical sums at auction. For example, a letter in which Einstein discussed his views on God and religion sold for over $3 million. Other documents, such as early drafts of his theories, are highly sought after by collectors and institutions. 19. He had an unusual relationship with his sister. Einstein had one sibling, Maya Einstein, who was his younger sister. Their relationship was quite close, and Maya played a significant role in his personal life. They both lived together in Switzerland for a period when Einstein was trying to escape the pressures of fame, and she was a big supporter of his work and personal life. 20. Einstein had a complex relationship with his second wife, Elsa. Einstein married Elsa Lowenthal, his cousin, in 1919. Their marriage was different from his first, in part because Elsa was a very supportive partner who took care of many of Einstein's personal affairs. Though their relationship was not without its difficulties, including Einstein's infidelities, Elsa remained a constant figure in his life, especially as he dealt with increasing fame. 21. Einstein's famous equation was not his only legacy. While E equals mc squared is Einstein's most famous equation, his legacy is built on far more than this one formula. His work on quantum theory, the photoelectric effect, Brownian motion, the nature of light, and the cosmological constant were all groundbreaking contributions that reshaped the course of modern physics. 22. He was born on the same day as the theory of relativity. The year 1905, often called Einstein's Annus Mirabilis, or miracle year, is when he published 4 groundbreaking papers, including the one on special relativity. What's interesting is that he was born on March 14, 1879, which is Pi Day, and his birthday has become a quirky symbol of both his genius and the nature of mathematics. 23. He was a proponent of the cosmological constant. In 1917, Einstein introduced the cosmological constant, denoted lambda, into his equations of general relativity. He added this constant as a way to maintain a static universe, which was the prevailing view at the time. However, when Edwin Hubble discovered that the universe was expanding, Einstein famously called the cosmological constant his biggest blunder. Interestingly, the cosmological constant has made a comeback in modern cosmology, as scientists now believe it could be linked to dark energy, the mysterious force driving the universe's accelerated expansion. 24. He had a strong dislike for the Nazi regime. Einstein's strong opposition to the Nazi regime wasn't just a matter of political opinion, it was personal. As a Jewish man, he became a prime target of the Nazis. His works were burned, his family faced persecution, and he was forced to leave Germany when Adolf Hitler rose to power. Einstein was outspoken against the Nazis and warned of their dangers long before many others. 25. Einstein had a number of close friends in the scientific community. In addition to his collaborations with others, Einstein had a number of close friendships with some of the most brilliant minds of his time. Notable friends included Niels Bohr, Max Planck, and Erwin Schrödinger. Although Einstein was known to be somewhat solitary, he deeply respected these colleagues, and their interactions shaped many scientific debates, particularly around the development of quantum mechanics. 26. He loved sailing, even though he couldn't swim. Despite being unable to swim, Einstein loved to sail. He was often seen on small boats, enjoying the peace and solitude of the water. Einstein found sailing relaxing and would often take to the water as a way to clear his mind. 27. He had an intellectual rivalry with Niels Bohr. Einstein's interactions with Niels Bohr over the years are legendary. While they shared mutual respect, their differing views on quantum mechanics led to some of the most famous debates in the history of physics. Einstein, who was skeptical of quantum mechanics' probabilistic nature, would challenge Bohr's theories with famous thought experiments, including the EPR paradox, Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen, which argued that quantum mechanics couldn't be a complete theory of reality. Despite their intellectual rivalry, Einstein and Bohr remained friends. 28. His name was originally Einstein, but it's actually a pen name. Before Albert became famous, his name wasn't always the household name we know today. As a child, he was often teased for his Jewish surname, and his family sometimes used the pen name Albert Einstein for his early academic writings. Eventually, it became his official name when he started his public career. 29. He rejected the Nobel Prize money. When Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921 for his work on the photoelectric effect, he rejected the money and placed it in a trust fund for his wife, Mileva Merrick, to manage, following their divorce. He also promised a portion of his Nobel Prize money to help support his son Hans Albert, who was struggling with financial difficulties at the time. 30. Einstein's first wife, Mileva Merrick, was also a physicist and his early collaborator. The two were married in 1903 and had 2 sons. However, their marriage faced significant challenges, particularly because of Einstein's rising fame and Mileva's struggles with mental health. The couple eventually divorced in 1919. Later that year, Einstein married his cousin Elsa Lowenthal, a woman who took care of many of his personal affairs, allowing him to focus on his work. 31. His DNA was preserved. After Einstein's death, Dr. Thomas Stoltz Harvey, the pathologist who removed Einstein's brain, also took samples of his DNA. These DNA samples were preserved for decades in an effort to study what made Einstein's brain so extraordinary. In recent years, researchers have conducted various studies on his preserved tissue, though the findings have been inconclusive. 32. Einstein's popularity only increased after his death. While Einstein was well known during his lifetime, his legacy has only grown more significant in the years since his passing. His name has become synonymous with genius, and he remains one of the most widely recognized figures in the world. His image, especially the iconic photo of him sticking out his tongue, continues to be used in popular culture, further solidifying his place as a global symbol of intellect and curiosity. 33. His mind was preserved in a box for years. After the theft of his brain, Einstein's brain was preserved in jars for many years. However, it wasn't just his brain. His corneas, kidneys, and a part of his stomach were also removed. While the preservation of his brain was controversial and unethical, it became the subject of numerous studies, though it's still unclear whether his brain had any truly unique attributes that would explain his extraordinary intelligence. 34. He was a believer in the theory of everything. Toward the end of his life, Einstein became increasingly obsessed with the idea of finding a unified field theory, a theory that would combine the fundamental forces of the universe into one elegant framework. He wanted to merge gravity, described by general relativity, with electromagnetism into a single theory, which would explain all physical phenomena. Though he did not succeed, modern physicists, particularly those working on string theory and quantum gravity, are still pursuing this elusive goal. 35. He almost didn't become a scientist. Early in life, Einstein wasn't interested in pursuing a scientific career. He originally wanted to become an architect, but struggled with the geometry portion of the entrance exam to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich. His strong performance in mathematics and physics, however, led him to change course. Later, these fields would become the basis for his groundbreaking work. 36. Einstein's brain was split into 240 pieces. After Einstein's brain was stolen by Dr. Harvey, it was sectioned into about 240 pieces. Some of these slices were sent to scientists around the world for study, and portions of his brain were even kept in various jars in different locations. In 2012, research suggested that Einstein's brain had a higher than average number of glial cells, cells that support neurons, in certain areas, leading some scientists to speculate that this could have contributed to his extraordinary intelligence. However, these findings remain contentious. 37. He had an affair with his first cousin. While married to Mileva Marek, Einstein had a relationship with his cousin, Elsa Lowenthal, who later became his second wife. The affair was not widely known at the time, but it was rumored that Elsa had an understanding of his extramarital activities, as their relationship was more about companionship than anything else. Their marriage lasted until Elsa's death in 1936. 38. He was a friend of Charlie Chaplin. Einstein was good friends with the legendary actor Charlie Chaplin. The two met at a gathering in the early 1930s and bonded over their mutual appreciation of humor and intellectual conversation. Einstein even quipped to Chaplin, "What I most admire about your art is that you express the world's emotions without saying a word." The two remained friends for many years, and their friendship even led to a famous photo of them laughing together. 39. He never wore socks. Einstein was known for his eccentricities, and one of the most charming was his decision to never wear socks. He once joked, "Why waste time on socks? They only get holes in them." His casual disregard for fashion trends reflected his preference for comfort and practicality over societal expectations. 40. He helped discover the Einstein-Rosen bridge, wormholes. In collaboration with physicist Nathan Rosen, Einstein contributed to the concept of the Einstein-Rosen bridge, which later came to be known as a wormhole. This theoretical passage through space-time suggests the possibility of shortcuts between distant regions of space, and it has become a popular subject in science fiction. The concept is a fascinating extension of Einstein's ideas in the field of general relativity. 41. His personal library was massive. Einstein had an extensive personal library, which included not just physics books, but also works on philosophy, literature, and history. He had a deep interest in philosophy, especially the works of Immanuel Kant and Baruch Spinoza, whose views on God and the universe influenced Einstein's own thinking about religion and science. His library was said to contain over 1,000 volumes, a testament to his voracious reading habits. 42. His aha moment came during a train ride. Einstein famously had an epiphany about his theory of special relativity while imagining riding on a train. One of his thought experiments involved a person traveling alongside a beam of light. This led to his realization that the speed of light was constant for all observers, regardless of their relative motion. This key insight revolutionized our understanding of space and time and became the cornerstone of special relativity.